home prices hit a record high again, and many analysts believe we're not at the top of a demand and supply mismatch. So why is this occurring? Well, there still remains high demand of buyers with record low inventory. And builder confidence is continuing to decline as supply challenges continue. Builders have a shortage of building material, buildable lots, and skilled labor. House prices are based on the cost to build new. And this struggle with supply chain issues has only gotten worse and worse post-pandemic. Short-term supply chain disruptions across the building sectors include challenges with transportation in the ports and trucking, underinvestment with trained and skilled workforce. This last week, White House had a summit focusing on builder challenges. Their two main topics were the higher material cost and persisting supply chain challenges that strain the builders. Some of the things they discussed was the average cost of a new single-family build increased $30,000 from this time last year, according to the National Association of Home Builders. And then in the multi-unit market, it increased $10,000 in increased cost, which on average is about $92 a month higher for rentals. The challenging of building new is also being experienced in remodels, where renovation budgets have just ballooned to 15% over this last year. More homeowners are wanting to do renovations at the same time, with 56% saying they have a redo, that they want to do at least one room compared to just 38% last year. So let's talk to a builder about some of the challenges they're having in the remodel. And I think a perfect person to start with is my wife, Amy, at Elevation Home Builders, where they have both a remodel and a new construction division, and see what's going on in their remodel.
Well, we get the great pleasure today of getting Amy Pretorius of Elevation Home Builders here. Probably helps that I'm married to you a little bit to get you to take away from your busy day, but I know all you builders and remodels right now are just so busy, so I appreciate you taking away time from your incredibly busy schedule to just give us a couple minutes of what in the world is going on in the supply chain issues right now. So what is one of the biggest things you're experiencing in new construction and remodels and supply chain issues?
So I was literally late to this interview because of the supply chain issues that's been affecting our company, but I mean everything around us, right? I mean, you go past a car dealership and there's like 5 cars in the parking lot if you're lucky, and this is stuff that you've never seen before. This is absolutely all over the building industry right now. So what first started off is maybe there was going to be some, the lumber crisis, the prices went up, and we saw some materials that were starting to get hard to get, PVC, but it has entered into almost every aspect of construction, whether it's new construction or remodel. The most recent one I would say is cabinets. We were told a few weeks back that cabinet timelines had increased from the typical 3 to 5 weeks to now 12 to 18 weeks. For new construction even, this is very complicated. People are very hung up on timelines. They need to be in a house by a certain time. They want to move into their house, and now potentially waiting for cabinets an additional 3 months. The houses will sit there, stagnant, not moving, nothing being done to it for 3 months. Remodels, potentially even worse scenarios happening. I have houses where we ordered the cabinets. We thought we were safe with an 8-week time frame. We started the project knowing the cabinets were supposed to be here at a certain point in time. We're in people's houses. We've torn up their kitchen, for instance, and we have the call, the cabinets will not be in. They're being affected by this 18-week lead time now.
Yeah, and these homeowners are just devastated, I'm sure.
I mean, they're living out of a microwave and a mini fridge, and they're going to be doing that for now an additional 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm frustrated. My clients are frustrated. Everybody else associated with my clients, new construction, it's the real estate agents. In remodel, it's just everybody else in the household who's having to live through this nightmare of a remodel process for that much longer. And it doesn't stop there. It's flooring, it's appliances.
Just all these materials.
Yes.
Is it just me, or does it seem like it's gone from bad to worse? Like the more we go into this post-pandemic, like it seems like the delays keep getting longer, and there's so many new items getting introduced that you just didn't expect, and now suddenly this item's got long delays on it.
I feel like we don't have all the answers yet. Just when we're being told, like, order the floors, and the flooring gal goes to order the floors, and she calls me the next day and says, these floors have been discontinued. We know it's happening. It happens every single day, it seems like, on all of our projects. We don't know why it's happening. What item in the chain that something got messed up to where this particular product got delayed, it got discontinued, whatever the case is. We're not getting all the answers. Is it the glue? Is it a little piece? And sometimes you do. For instance, the cabinets, it's the one big piece of plywood that you often find in cabinets. These are the side panels of full-size pantry cabinets, refrigerator panels. That item alone is not in production or wasn't in production for some period of time during the pandemic and has caused this catastrophic backlog of cabinetry. So it's kind of eventually, sometimes you get the story as to what's actually causing it, but there's so much going on in every single direction right now. I don't even have the backstory as far as what's actually causing the delay. But yes, it does go back to something during the pandemic caused this to happen.
What is the biggest challenge that you're seeing right now in remodels? Is it the delay in material? Is it the cost? Is it the labor shortages? What do you think the biggest challenge you're dealing with right now is?
I think our biggest challenge is timelines. People come to us, and they have historically come to us. I want to do a remodel. This is what we want to do. And now that I tell them, yes, we can do that, but it won't get done for 6 to 9 months, people are just in disbelief. Like, I can't have this thing that I want for up to 9 months. You can't start it, and you have to kind of, educate people. This is not about me not starting your project. I can start your project tomorrow, but I don't have the items that I would need to finish your project for 8 to 9 months from now, unfortunately. And that's the hard thing. We're re-educating people all the time, and I think the timeline is probably creating the most frustration and the most anxiety in what we're doing. Pricing, even surprisingly, in late 2020 when the lumber crisis happened, I was surprised that so many people wanted to move forward with construction and remodeling. It wasn't as big of a deal as I guess I thought it was going to be. But this timeline issue is devastating. I have a lot of very anxious and frustrated clients, and I'm frustrated with them. And it's about making sure that we understand that we can still work together and that people are in fact placing blame where it needs to be placed, which is essentially on the pandemic, something that is not very tangible. But, is this going to sour a relationship to the point to where we need to kind of say, this is a point in time where we need to kind of go our separate ways. And you're hoping that'll happen less than 10% of the time. I'm kind of hoping is what happens.
But it's just challenging to even find anyone right now. I mean, I heard that people will just go through a list and just call 10 builders, and one of them will even pick up or call back or say they even have availability. And their availability is like 3-6 months from now. It's not immediate. I mean, it just seems there's just not enough labor force right now to keep up.
I would say that is going to be nationwide, and that's probably especially that scenario in our area because of the derecho that happened last year about this time. So we have a pretty massive metro area at Cedar Rapids, Marion, that was devastated by this weather phenomenon, and everybody's rushing to put Cedar Rapids and Marion back together again. And that mostly you're seeing that's a lot of siders, that's a lot of roofers. And those are two trades that we, and by me, we, like everybody in our area, the builders, have been having a really hard time getting a hold of, scheduling, because there's so much to do up there. And then again, we're putting people's roofs back on their houses again so they can live in their houses, let alone just, build new construction. And we're in a housing crisis. So every builder is trying to build as fast as they can. People can't buy new houses. They can't buy houses in general. So they're having to stay in their house and remodel it. So then the remodeler is as busy as you can possibly imagine. And yeah, there's simply not enough people. There's not enough supply for the demand in the world of labor. It's funny, you go on Indeed and all these other places where we are also trying to hire people, and it's hard to even get people to apply for jobs. I think we're just so hurting for people wanting to enter this field. And everybody's just so busy right now.
Yeah, that workforce is just behind. It's hopefully we can get caught up a little bit, and people see there's opportunities within the housing industry, and maybe people are looking for jobs, they'll start going that way. I really want to switch gears though. Let's talk about some fun things. So House Magazine just came out. They talked about the 3 biggest renovations and remodels that are going on nationwide. And those trends include outdoor living, so things like decks and patios and garden updates, smart gadgets, anything from lighting to speakers to just smart appliances. And then their third one was home offices and closet storages. I guess people want to organize more post-pandemic. That's what they said the top 3 are. What are you seeing? what are the most common remodels and renovations you're getting calls for right now?
I would say the number one we still get a call for in the remodel realm is the kitchen.
Of course, the kitchen.
Right? I mean,
That's the biggest one, though. That's the most expensive one.
We're in the same boat. Like, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen. It needs to be really functional. After 10 years, we discovered items that are like not so functional for us, and we're already discussing a kitchen remodel. And it's pretty significant. And kitchen remodels are complicated enough that you need to bring in an expert most of the time.
A designer as well. Like, it's not just like I'm going to do a facelift. Like, probably doing a whole redesign, and they want the latest trends and fashions and stuff in there.
Yeah, they kind of come to me with their problems, and we need to help them find answers to their problems. And how do we get them from point A to point B? So the kitchen's the major one. Now,
can I ask you on the kitchen? So are people, would you say a majority of them end up moving a wall or two, or do most of them try to use the existing space that's there?
Oh no, people are expanding their kitchens.
Yeah, so we're moving walls.
We're moving walls.
So over half the ones you get are all moving walls and reconfiguring the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Wow, very cool.
Absolutely. So
from real estate, advice, that's going to add value if they're making it bigger and kind of reinventing it. So that's good.
Right. I think
you got a dog. She wants to join the conversation.
Yeah, she's going to help.
Yeah.
So that's the big one. Master bathrooms are still pretty high up there. I would say that's a big percentage of what our remodels include. Okay. But people are definitely wanting just to find more usable space in their houses, whether we're finishing a basement, whether we're actually adding an addition onto it. I find we are adding offices, and we are adding entertainment rooms or bonus rooms of some sort, whether it's an exercise room or a music room or something to that degree. Yeah. So, I mean, people just need a little more room to breathe after being stuck in their house during a pandemic. And that's what we're doing. We're capturing more usable square footage for them. So outdoor space, definitely still doing that as well. That's very, very important. So we need to make outdoor spaces work for people, whether it's adding a screen and porch, taking out a screen and porch, adding an outdoor patio, adding a hot tub deck, you name it. Fire pits, of course, are always popular. Yeah, that's happening.
Love fire pits.
Yeah, yeah.
So what are you seeing more of? Are you seeing more of people with sticker shock disappointment, or mostly just a disappointment in timelines and getting things done?
I would say timelines 100% actually. I mean, even before the pandemic, people are always kind of like, oh, that's how much that costs. That's an educational component. Somebody who's not in the world of construction has no idea. You watch HGTV and other types of media, and it kind of looks like maybe it's less expensive than it really is. So there's always been sticker shock. What is out of everybody's control now, including my control, is the timeline, and I think that's been the major player right now.
And of course, that's super frustrating when you're doing a remodel, because you're there all the time and you're watching the work get done, and that's really hard.
Yeah, it's complicated. So we're kind of keeping our head above water right now. What we're finding is, other than just simply disappointing our clients, we too are just getting behind in general. It's not just the material, it's not my subcontractors that are we too are taking a lot longer than we normally do. The inefficiencies related to having to problem solve all these issues as they fall into our lap every single day has taken something that normally would take 1 hour, takes 3 hours. So that, again, it's funny how it translates across the board in the world of construction. So
is there any light in the tunnel? What is your thought on when we might get supply chains back to normal and timelines might be more normal, if that ever happens again?
You know, it's funny. So earlier this summer, I talked about it was even hard to find labor. That has already seemed to change a little bit. We are getting a lot more interest. We're getting a lot more phone calls from people, and we're having the opportunity to build our company and get the employees we need to actually run our company, the efficiency it needs to run at. We are seeing some companies coming in here getting more creative with how to get the product that we're looking for in the timeframes that we need. There's going to be a little bit of a catch-up that needs to kind of happen, and with the cabinet companies specifically, sure. Some of the window door companies. Everybody's, I think, just figuring out how to navigate this, and they're eventually going to get used to it and get a method down, and it's going to become a lot more efficient for everybody soon. But I do think supply chain will eventually level off a little bit. It might be a year from now, but I think we'll eventually get there.
Well, that's good to hear that there's some light coming here, and hopefully sooner than later. So what tips do you have for somebody that wants to do a remodel or renovation? should they start now? Should they wait? And what would you recommend for them?
If you want to start now, be prepared for longer timelines, but also try to be as organized as humanly possible. The more organized you are, the quicker you can kind of help move the regular timeline along where you would normally take a few weeks to plan and get things sussed out. You can get all that information to the builder, then that makes that process a lot quicker, which will get you to that whole sit around and wait stuff for the product. But as far as
So what would that mean? Would that mean like getting like the finishes and the design picked out ahead of time? Like I want this color cabinets and these color countertops, or
you
what?
know, and not that specific perhaps, but I would say, for instance, go on things like Pinterest, go on house.com, create your idea books or your folders, create something that you can instantly pass on over to your builder or the designers that you end up working with so they have an idea and direction as to which way you're going. So when you end up going to these vendor locations to pick out your finishes, sometimes the vendors will already have pulled samples for you going, I see which way you're going, this is what I'm going to put in front of you, what do you think? And we're talking about just saving time here. So anyway, we can save time. These are arenas we can control. And so let's try to minimize the time and the wait time we have in the arenas that we actually have control over versus the ones that we don't. So, and that's one of them.
Good. Well, thanks for taking time. I know your schedule is incredibly busy. I hardly see you before 6 o'clock these days. And so I know you got a lot to get back to and get designing and working with clients. So we appreciate your time and giving us a little insight into what's going on in the industry.
Well, you're welcome.
Thanks.
So if you're thinking about doing a remodel, it's important to remember that prices are not yet at the top. And that's important to remember, but you have to be willing to be patient. This problem is caused by logistic issues, labor shortages, and factory shutdowns during the pandemic, but the real root of this issue is a decade of stagnant prices and labor shortages that haven't appreciated to keep up with the growing economy and the current demand. We won't see prices coming down, but we will see them come up a little bit more. And if you have the patience, maybe now's the time to do a remodel. If not, wait a little bit and things should get a little bit back to normal. If you like this video, I hope you tune in and subscribe and check out some of my other upcoming videos as we explore the market trends going on in the Midwest, notably in the Iowa City, Iowa area. Thanks for watching.